guys. So, this is take 4. Trying to get this stupid podcast done. Not a stupid podcast. This is like my live stream, actually, to podcast. So my first one that I did, my first effort at this that I did, just didn't like it, whatever, so I deleted it. My second effort at it, I did the whole thing, completed it, even all my little segments that I added, like these little film clips that I added, and I uploaded everything to Google Photos so that I could edit it from my computer, because I prefer to edit from my computer. I'm recording from my iPhone, and doing iMovie to edit the final version from your iPhone. I don't have a Mac, I don't have an iPad, so I had to do everything from my iPhone, and working from this little screen and trying to edit your photo is such a challenge. So what I did for the last two was I uploaded to Google Photos, and then I edited from my computer, which worked great. This time I opened Google Photos, so I uploaded everything to Google Photos, and I waited a little bit, and then I deleted everything off my phone so I could make more room on my phone for my next one. And I guess, I don't know if I didn't wait long enough before I deleted them from my phone. Maybe it was still working in the background. I don't know. But all I know is I opened the videos up on Google Photos, and the video quality was so poor that I literally deleted them. I couldn't use them, which was like a whole waste of last Saturday. You know, my time doing this last Saturday. So, yeah, so I'm a week later than I hoped to be. Ended up having to trash the video, and now we're trying again. And the one that I recorded before this also didn't like it, so we're now on attempt number 4. So let's talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly. It's been a while since I recorded, and not a ton has happened. I mean, just life, you know, work, whatever, you know. I try not to say too much. I do have a finished object. I have 2 whips. I have a project that maybe is considered a whip. I don't know. It's one that we're going to talk about a little bit. It's in the ugly category, and only ugly in terms of its status at this point is ugly. Because it's a sweater, because the project itself is very pretty. And I do also have, maybe I have 3 whips, because I have a Cozy Memories blanket, which is like a forever whip, right? Until you actually finish it. And then I have stashquisitions. I don't do a ton of yarn buying. I tend to buy yarn enough for a project that I'm working on. So I like it when I'm sort of playing a little bit of yarn chicken towards the end, and I just have enough yarn left to be able to repair it, if I had to repair an item. And so as a result, I don't have a big stash of yarn. I have usually just some little tiny balls left. And that's okay. I'm okay with that. I have a lot of envy over people that have big yarn stashes. But then I think, well, that's a lot of money. And I know that my tastes tend to change over time. And I don't know that something I buy now, that a year from now I'm gonna like it. So I don't tend to buy a lot of yarn as a result. I'm hoping that by getting into yarn dyeing, and we'll talk about that too, I'm hoping that by getting into a little bit of yarn dyeing that I can maybe supplement my yarn inventory a little bit for myself. I'm not selling it. So let's start with the finished object. That would be my hug shot. I finished. Woohoo! It's super long, so I don't think I can I can't capture the whole thing in this video, but you start at this end, and then you go along. It's what do they call it? Asymmetric triangle. And then this is your edge that you finish on. This edge. This navy blue one on here. And I call this potato chip knitting because all of these sections are a little bit different. They look very similar in this video. The only ones that are the same actually are this section and this section are the only ones that are absolutely the same. These two like grayish blue sections. This one looks the same, but it is slightly different. And all of these stripe sections are all, the stitch design is just a little bit different. And so it's like potato chip knitting, because A, it's striped, which is usually a really fast knit, and B, because you're changing up the stitches that you're doing. It's not just knits and purls. It's not just, stockingette or reverse stockingette or whatever. It's some slip stitches, and some of them are, knits and purl combinations. There's some yarn overs in there. And it just makes for a fast knit. The only issue I had, and I noticed this with a lot of people, and it's a tension issue on the edge. And so some people, their asymmetrical triangle comes out more as a crescent? I don't know. And this one, I took it off the needles, was a little bit of a crescent, like the edges, the points kind of curled. And I thought I had done my purls. You do a purl at the beginning of one side. And I thought I had done, because I had a feeling it might affect my tension. And is it a purl? Yeah, you start with a purl, and I think you're slipping a stitch. I can't remember. Whatever it was, I remember thinking, ooh, my tension might be an issue here. And so I made sure that my purls were loose enough that when it was finished, it wouldn't curl on the edges. But sure enough, when I was done, you can kind of see it a little bit. This one kind of curls. It wants to curl ever so slightly. You can even see, you can see even a little bit how it does it at the tip. So I blocked the heck out of this sucker and was pretty, I was a little worried actually how vigorous I was being with the blocking. But it did help, because it's, for the most part, it's pretty much an asymmetrical triangle at this point. But it was so much fun. I would definitely knit another one of these. And it knit up really fast, actually. I was surprised. It knit up very quickly. And I had quite a bit of yarn left from it. So, hello, I'll be adding that to my stash of minis. Or my my extra yarn that I've got. So, yes, I'm pretty excited about this. I love it. I can't wait to wear it this fall, winter, and spring. I think it's going to be great with t-shirts and things like that, jeans. I think it's going to be a great addition to my wardrobe. I'm not a big shawl wearer, because shawls tend to, and I think I said this in my last one, they tend to, if they're anything more than lace weight or fingering weight, they tend to bunch up under my neck, and I don't like it. They sit high on my chest. But this one has nice drape to it, and because it's fingering weight, it's not so dense of a fabric. I have one that I made, I'm trying to remember what design it was. I can't remember what design it was. I want to made out of DK weight yarn, I'm going to say maybe 2 or 3 years ago, and I hardly ever wear it because A, it's massive. I mean, this thing is bigger wingspan than a condor. The thing is huge. And so it's really big, and it gets really skinny at one end, so it's kind of weird when you put it on. It doesn't, when you try to wear it, because it's so long, and it's got this long skinny section on it, it just doesn't look super great. The yarns I loved, but it just didn't turn out super great. And because it's DK weight, it just sits like this. It's a lot of fabric, and it sits like this around my neck. And it's fine for under a coat if you want to be warm, but it's not something I would put on with a t-shirt or even a sweater or whatever. I just wouldn't wear it. So I don't do a ton of shawls, actually, but this one I know I would wear quite a bit. I'll get a lot of use out of this one. And then I talked about my Cozy Memories blanket, which I actually do have. Doesn't everybody? Probably not, but it seems like a lot of people do, especially people that like knitting with fingering weight yarn, which I didn't used to love knitting with fingering weight yarn, but now I really enjoy it. I like the fabric that it makes. But I have a Cozy Memories blanket that I'm this far, that's the back, this far on, and you could see the colors were not so great. I mean, they're all the scraps that I have, but the colors are kind of blah and boring. So one of the things I did was I joined the Carnival of Color monthly yarn subscription from Row One Yarns. And they do not sponsor me, by the way. But I needed to grow my selection of... That's just a random tote bag, by the way. Like from a conference tote bag. I needed to grow my selection of minis, like scraps of minis, because I don't... Like I said, I like to play yarn chicken. I don't like to have a ton of yarn left over. So I don't have a lot of fingering weight scraps to use for Cozy Memories. So I joined Carnival of Color, and ta-da! So about from here up, that's all Carnival of Color. From here down, these boring colors, that's all yarns that I had. But all these fun colors in here, woo, that's all Carnival of Color. This Gemma Darling has her Brio Duo. This is just my scraps, my mini balls. And this actually usually sits on my television stand, my TV stand downstairs, the entertainment center, whatever you want to call it. And it's kind of like a little piece of art. And it's getting fuller. I'll probably have room for maybe 1 or 2 more orders. So yeah, I'm looking forward to really growing that. The next thing I have is, okay, so my socks. I always have a pair of socks on the needle just because they're just so great. Just, you want to pick up something that's mindless knitting and just knit. So these socks, I finally got to the heels. The heels are done on the socks. And there's the leg of the sock. And once you get the heels done, it seems like they just fly off the needle after that when you're working on the foot. But I'm just loving this color combo. It's like, is that capturing it? Yeah, it's capturing it pretty well. The stripey kind of one is like a grayish, like a lavendery purple and cream color with some little pops of like fuchsia and things like that in there. And the heels actually capture some of this purpley fuchsia color that's in the speckles. And I mean, these were not a set that were sold together. This was yarns that I picked separately, and it's working out really well. So I'll do the toes the same way. I'll do the same. This is a German short row heel, which is my favorite. It's super fast to knit. It fits my heel really well. It hugs my heel and doesn't slouch or anything like that. The heel flapping gusset tends to slouch and be too bunchy on my ankles. I've got narrow ankles, and for whatever reason, the German short row heel just kind of hugs my ankles and fits a lot better. Same for my husband. He prefers that heel too, and I love how fast it knits up. So I do the German short row heel, which looks a lot like a toe. And so I'll do the toes in the same color. That'll be fun. So yeah, so these are on to the foot, so they'll go really fast because I do plain knit on the stockinette on the bottom, and I continue the pattern, which is a 3x1 rib. I continue that across the instep, and then the toe is just stockinette. Excuse me. And then I have a project that has been in my brain, I can't tell you for how long, at least a year. I don't know. Samantha, when did you come out with this pattern? Because when you posted on your Instagram, that's when I first went, oh my gosh, I need to make that. It's a 1-ball pattern, which I love. And it's another shawl, but this one's a little different. It's got a little brioche in it. It's got a little lace in it. It's got tassels, which I love. And it's another asymmetrical triangle. I love the tassels. That when I saw it, actually, so this is a Samantha Guerin design. If you follow her, and if you don't follow her on Instagram, you should follow her on Instagram. And hopefully I am pronouncing your name correctly, Samantha, but it's Samantha Guerin Designs. And not only is she an amazing designer, but she has young children, and she's a fairly amazing human being as well. I had messaged her yesterday morning, like 5 o'clock, 5:30 my time. I'm in Mountain Time, and thought, oh, she'll get back to me later today. She got back to me like in minutes. I have no idea where she lives, but it had to be pretty early where she is. And she was still getting her kids breakfast, and yet she still responded to me. I mean, that was beyond amazing. I was not expecting that. Because I messaged her because I've never done, in 25 years of knitting, I have never done I-cord edging, ever. Not ever. I've done miles and miles and miles of I-cord, which I hate making, but I've never done I-cord edging on anything before. So this project actually made me think about I-cord on the next project we're going to talk about. But if you go to Samantha's page on Ravelry or follow her on Instagram, you will see she has a shawl called Relish. And when I saw the photos of it, I just fell in love with it, and I knew I had to make that at some point. And it's been sitting in my brain and percolating back there and thinking, I just want to make it. Like, I really want to make this shawl. And summertime, of course, is a great time to make a shawl because it's a light project, especially fingering weight. You know, it's a light project when it's, you know, hot outside and you don't want to be doing a cozy memories blanket or a big sweater. So, let's see. This is the right side. Excuse all my markers, but, whoops. All right, flip you to the back. That's marking the center stitch, the one that I just flipped back. But do you see that? So I use these little light bulb stitch markers to mark each repeat. So you do this, I'm going to be doing this repeat 11 times, 12 times total, counting the first time. And so I use the little bulb pins because it helps me keep track of where I'm at. And so I've done three repeats of it because I did the original one and then 2 additional repeats. And this is an asymmetrical shawl, and the edge, I don't know if you can see it, the edge is an I-cord. And because I've never done them before, I was like starting to knit and starting the project, and I'm going, at the end of the row it says slip 3 purlwise with yarn in front, and it confused me, and I'm like, and then you knit on the next row, and then I'm like, what is this gonna do? This is like these 3 stitches just sitting here, and then you're gonna go to the other side and you're gonna knit, and it's gonna start pulling those stitches. And then of course, so it's, what Samantha messaged me was, that's I-cord, and I'm like, why didn't I think of that? Of course, if I had gone further and just like, you know, I've learned over the years, just knit what the pattern says, because usually if you just knit what the pattern says, it's right, unless there's some kind of errata that's listed on Ravelry or that you're emailed or whatever, or is in the pattern. It's right. So just do what the pattern says. Use the force, Luke. So if I had done that, I would have realized, oh, it's doing an I-cord edging. Duh. So now, of course, it's, you know, it's just flying along. I literally just started it yesterday, started it, ripped it out, started it, ripped it out, started it, ripped it out, because I'm like, I'm not doing something right here. Something doesn't seem right. So this is like my 4th time giving it a go, but I'm 2 repeats into it now, or 2 more repeats into it now. I got much further than the last couple times. It's a simple pattern. It's actually very fun to knit. My brain just wasn't, for whatever reason, clicking. So the yarn I'm using is from Cherry Tree Hill. I have had this is one of the yarns I've had in my very small stash for probably close to 20 years, because I've never really known what the heck to do with it. I had 1 skein of it, and it would make probably a fabulous pair of socks for maybe a guy or a woman, you know, just a dark colored pair of socks. But I don't think it's superwash. In fact, I don't even know if I still have the original ball band from it. I don't know that it's superwash, and I am 99% sure it doesn't have nylon in it. And I like the comfort of knowing that my yarn that I use for my socks, I can throw in the washing machine, and the nylon is also in it, and that helps to reinforce it. When I knit socks years ago, I would use yarn like this. This probably doesn't have nylon in it now that I think of it. And then I would get something called woolly nylon, which you can get on cones for using on with sergers. And woolly nylon is this very thin filament nylon that kind of poofs up a little bit when you use it, and it kind of fills in spaces, the little spaces. Excuse me. And it reinforced, I would use that, I would hold that along with my yarn to reinforce my heels and toes. And I actually had some woolly nylon in like this fuchsia, like a plum color that I was going to use with this. But because I'm making a shawl, obviously I don't need it. And today's sock yarns have the nylon in them already, so you don't have to add any extra nylon. But that like tells you how old I am and how long I've been knitting, that when I used to make socks, I used to have to carry nylon along with my wool yarn to do heels and toes. I don't generally like to buy superwash, and I mentioned this before, because I certainly don't like to use it for garments, not socks, but garments, because I'm trying to get away from anything plastic based. And not that superwash yarn is plastic based, but in the process of making superwash yarn, what makes it superwash, part of it, that process is a coating of plastic that's put on it that keeps all those little barbs in the fibers of the wool from catching on each other and felting. And so it allows you to throw it in the washing machine. Now, I never throw my socks in the dryer. I do air them. I put them on blockers, actually, and let them dry on blockers. But I do like the convenience of being able to put them in the washing machine. So that is like my one concession to plastic in my clothing, really, wherever in my life, is in sock yarn, because I do like the durability and the convenience of the washability. So that yarn I don't think is superwash, though. I could be mistaken. I know I can find it on Ravelry because it's still there, but they don't make that yarn anymore. I don't even think that yarn manufacturer is in business anymore. So I should probably look it up to see if it's superwash. But it should be fun for the relish shawl. I'm really looking forward to that finished product. And so the last thing I have to talk about is, well, two more things. The next to the last thing is the ugly. And it's not ugly in design. It's a Vera Valimaki design, so you know it's beautiful. It's ugly in that this thing, I made it in a size I typically might make for myself, because I need to get across my chest, so I make an extra large. And I probably should have gone down a size after I got past the yoke and got to the waist shaping and done maybe a large. But now that I've done it, and I've showed this to you before, I have so much ease on either side. This is the breathing space from Vera Valimaki. I have so much ease on either side. I mean, I don't know if you can see like this much extra. I mean, like a foot. I don't know. I might actually make a small. So I'm going to go from, I've already unraveled one sleeve. I did it today. So proud of myself because it's been on my goals. I had a whole sleeve done. I just unraveled the whole sleeve today. So tonight what I'm going to do is pick up at the bottom and unravel from the bottom up to this where it's straight right here across the yoke. These are short rows that make these stripes. And I'm going to try and get it back up to here as close as I can. And then I might even go down to a small. I am not a woman who wears a small. I think I might have to go down to a small. Because this is not even blocked, and this is already like a gown. I mean, it's huge. When this is blocked, it's going to stretch, because this is Julie Aslam, the gray, and then this pink, or the white with speckles in it, is a Hedgehog Fibers. And I think the Hedgehog Fibers, if I'm not mistaken, is superwash. I don't think Julie Aslan is superwash. So because this is superwash down here, this is gonna stretch when I block it. So I think I might go down to a small. So I'm going to leave it where it is up here and then just start in the smaller size. And what I'm wanting is when in Vera Valimaki's photos of it, she's a nice trim woman. It's a nice straight sweater. On me, you can kind of see it goes out after you finish the yoke. It goes out. It doesn't even go straight. It goes out. So the other thing I thought of after working on the relish shawl is that this has this just regular ribbing at the bottom at the hem, and it gives it kind of that handmade look. Not that there's anything wrong with handmade, but I think what's going to look better is an I-cord bind off. So I think what I'm going to do is when I get to the point where I finished the main body of the sweater, I think I'm going to do an I-cord bind off at the bottom. I think, because I don't like that this, especially because it's so wide, I don't like that it then, comes in a little bit where the ribbing is. And I think an I-cord bind off will be a nice straight hem at the bottom. I don't think it'll flare out. I mean, who knows? I could get there, I could do it and go, I don't like that. And I could change it up again, but at least I'll only be ripping out, the bottom hem part, which is all one color, by the way. Hello, ripping out the sleeve because it's 2-row stripes. That was not fun. I am not looking forward to ripping all of that out because that was not fun. So hopefully I'll get it right the next time. And if not, you know what? I'll give it away. That's just what we're going to do. So the last thing I have to talk about is the yarn that I dyed. So I have not done my over dye yet. I did decide I'm going, and a lot of people recommended it, and we talked about it a lot on Instagram. I'm going to over dye this. Now I haven't done it yet, and I'm going to do it as a cold over dye, like just a soak rather than heat, because I'm worried about the fact that it already has felted a little bit, because this is non-superwash. Non-superwash merino, 80-20 merino wool and nylon. And because it did felt a little bit when I originally dyed it with the avocados, I'm a little worried about doing anything that involves heat, hot water, potential agitation. So I'm going to do it in a cold soak, like over a couple weeks, I guess, days, weeks, I don't know. I'm still learning. And I think I'm going to do is black walnut. I think I'm going to just make it a brown color. We'll see what it turns out to anyway. And I have to wait for those black walnuts. So, because it's just August right now. And I think it's like in the fall, I think, when black walnuts start to drop the walnuts in the husk that they've got. And I know that there are some neighbors around here that have them. So what I'm going to do is collect some black walnuts, and then I'm going to try and do an over dye on it. So I got to wait until I can collect those black walnuts before I can do that. So that's just kind of sitting on the back burner. I haven't used that yarn yet because I don't want to use it in the color it's in now, because I don't like it. And I think the over dye might help, even if it ends up turning out maybe not a chocolatey brown, because it probably won't. Even if it's just like a beigey brown, or it'll probably end up being a little more dark than light, but I think it's going to be something I'll use a lot more. So I haven't done anything with that yet, and I haven't done I have 2 more skeins left of the bare wool, and I have been amassing my avocados. This time I'm freezing them. So with these, I dried the avocados in the pits. I dried them out, and I almost wonder if drying them out and not using them in a semi-fresh state might have been part of why they turned out this color and not a pink color. So instead, this time what I have done is frozen them. So I have been amassing this quantity of skins and pits, and I wash them really well, and then I put them right in my bag in the freezer. So I think I almost have enough to try and do these final 2 skeins that I have and see how they come out with the frozen avocado pits and skins. I will let you know, and I will take video, and the next time maybe I'm doing a podcast, maybe I'll have it by then, and we'll see how that one turns out. Yeah, but that's all I have. And I did want to add at the end here, I will add some life snippets. Chickens have been fun, and just another day in life here. And we have had a major landscaping project going, so I will share some of that too. And so I will hopefully see you guys soon. Bye, guys. It's life in my little town. That road on the weekend, it's just Seriously? Like, non-stop. I know Harley's going by right now, which is just like shocking. Well, it's gonna be the patio. Right now the husband's working on, can you see him? These kindred oak trees. Man, they look good. They are just doing so well. But the dude doesn't know how to stop. Like, he works. He just doesn't seem to know how to, like, turn off. Let's see, so I'll show you. So 4 of my speckled Sussex are named for the Golden Girls. One of them's name is Sophia. So Sophia, can you see her in there? She's, yeah, in there. You know, she's the one I call Houdini. Maybe if I, yep, that's tricky. She's like right there. If I go closer, she'll hop out of the tree. And I actually like her, I mean, if she's gonna lay the egg outside of the chicken yard, I kind of want her to do it where I know I can find it. Because for a while there, she was like laying them random places that I'd find them. At least I'm finding them like in the same place every time. Now check this out. See this? Okay. Hello, birds. These guys are like dogs. They'll come running. They're kind of hanging out in the shade right now. There goes a Harley. But this area right here, this area used to have grass and wildflowers and weeds. And that's what they've done to it. Yep. Can't grow a single thing in there because they will eat it. Compare it to that. There's the garden. Well, there's a lot of weeds in there too. But there's the garden with the vegetables. If I let them in there, that garden would look like that. Yep. This is my favorite place to be.